Pastor Juliet Kobe, founder of Dag Heyward Mills Ministry, and I'm here today with Bishop Lawrence White of Church of the Living God, Tacoma, Washington. Bishop, thank you very much for having us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Wonderful. Bishop, could you tell us how you got in contact with Dag Heyward Mills Ministry?
It actually is very funny, I think a very humorous story. I actually went to Columbia Bank. Columbia Bank is a local bank here in Tacoma where I bank. And I actually went there to take care of a banking transaction on behalf of the church. And one of the personal bankers, his name is Emmanuel, who's part of your ministry here. Emmanuel was so gracious in taking care of the business. And as we talked, he noticed that I was taking care of church business, and the conversation just kind of evolved. And he just happened to have a copy of one of Mr. Dag Heyward's books, Loyalty and Disloyalty, in his desk.
The bestseller.
Yes, and he mentioned that and started to talk about the ministry, and so that's how I first started. And so then a couple of days after, 2 days after that, I was here at the church and my phone went off, and I had caller ID, and I saw that it was Columbia Bank, and so I thought maybe the bank was contacting me about something, but it was actually Emmanuel. And Emmanuel said, Bishop, sorry to disturb you. I just really appreciated our fellowship, and just wanted to know if we can just build upon that. And so he wanted to introduce me to Reverend Nee. And so him and Reverend Nee came by my home, and they were so kind and so gracious in allowing my wife and I to minister to them in hospitality. And they actually brought the series by and presented it to me, and they said, we just felt led by God to bless you with this series. And they explained to me the ministry, and explained to me, you know, who Reverend Dag was, and it was just an amazing thing. And then they mentioned that Reverend Paul was coming in to the country, and of course I was excited about that. And we talked about the possibility of hosting some community events, and I really felt that the Lord was clearly speaking, saying that this was an appropriate time and season to really partner and to be a conduit to His Word getting out. And of course, it's always been my dream and my prayer. It hasn't been quite fulfilled yet, but it's been my prayer and dream to actually go to Africa to do ministry and to be part of ministry work there. So I said, well, God, maybe this is the doorway. And so that's how I got introduced. And of course, when Reverend Paul came, I had worked with some community partners, the Tacoma Ministerial Alliance, which I'm a member of, and I went to them and told them about Reverend Paul coming, talked to them about the ministry, and told them that if we could, I'd like to get Reverend Paul on the calendar to address a delegation of pastors in Tacoma to talk about the books and to talk about the opportunity to help ministries grow here in Tacoma. And the timing was really right, because as an organization, we had been talking about greater spans of loyalty, pastors to pastors. We had been talking about a greater span of unification in Tacoma ministries coming together across denominational boundaries to really get away from denominational concerns and really be one church under God. And so this has really started that work here in Tacoma.
Unity. And since then, you've had a DLC in your own church with
We
your
did.
church leaders. How did that go?
Unbelievable. The message was rhema. The message was relevant. It was refreshing. Immediately I started getting calls from many of my ministry leaders the very next day. Many of them left away purchasing individual books, book on humility.
Formula for humility.
Yes. Of course, loyalties, disloyalties. One of you, which
And
I
one of you is
haven't,
a
yeah,
devil.
and I haven't read that yet, but I did finally get it,
Yes.
and I'm looking forward to reading it. But one of you is a devil, and I've gotten rave reviews about things that people have read in the works. And so what I've seen is again, a refreshment with the leaders, and in some cases there was a string kind of pulled and the light came on to bring confirmation to some of the conversations about ministry and excellence in ministry and expectations in ministry. And so very, very valuable. I'm just so grateful to God and so grateful to Reverend Paul for the work that he's done.
You also invited us to the 11th District Summit,
Yes.
where we met with some of the overseers and the bishops in Dublin, California.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little about that?
Well, our district conference, I'm part of the 11th Diocese of the 11th District for the Church of Living God, and that includes Washington and Oregon, Arizona and California. And so there's a total of 19 churches across that region or district, and we come together annually, usually the third week of June, for our regional conference. And so this year, as you said, it was in Dublin, California. I contacted Bishop Kelly. We had such a great response, and don't forget, Reverend Paul came to be with me in Mississippi earlier in June.
Yeah.
But because of the work that he did with our leaders in the 8th District, I called Bishop Kelly, and Bishop Kelly hosts a breakfast on Friday morning during the conference just for his pastors. Yes. And Reverend Paul came in and again just shared a very real and very relevant word. Bishop Kelly was overwhelmed. The pastors were delighted. It brought me great joy. And the joy was really in being able to see Reverend Paul and yourself walk in the fulfillment of the assignment. Because this is ministry assignment. It's not just vacation. It's ministry assignment. It's kingdom building. And to see you all be able to fulfill this assignment was very satisfying and refreshing for me. So yeah, so it was a wonderful time.
Wonderful, thank you.
Yeah.
I know you have your Macarius pack.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite book out of your pack?
As always, loyalties and disloyalties. Which is, it's a huge issue, and it's not only a huge issue in Church of Living God Tacoma, it's not only a huge issue, Church of Living God as an organization, it's a very real issue in the kingdom. There's a reason why God in His Word speaks to a house divided against itself. And there's a reason why the prophet Isaiah said, "Come now, let us reason together." There's a reason why Paul, by divine intervention, was inspired to write, that we have been reconciled through Christ, therefore we have the ministry of reconciliation. It's because there's been a great falling away and a great dissension. And it starts at the leadership level. And so in reading the book and in being able to talk with leaders about different aspects of the books, it has really left an indelible mark upon our lives as leaders in the kingdom.
And how has it impacted the leaders in your church in particular?
It has allowed them to, in many ways, have confirmation of some of the things that I've been sharing with them as expectations in ministry. It has challenged them and caused them to look inward and to re-examine. The Bible is very clear. It said, "Let a man first examine himself." And so many of them have had an opportunity to examine themselves and how am I really lining up. Okay. And one of the things that I've been talking to leaders about, and not all leaders, but there's been a few leaders, and significant leaders that I've been talking to them about a spirit of passive aggressiveness. That in conversation and in discussion, they're on fire, they're very ambitious, very hopeful, but when it comes to execution, the execution doesn't line up with the passion and conversation. And so it's given them opportunity to go back and to re-examine and to come to a very real perspective of where they're at in ministry.
Well, Bishop talks about that in the book, Loyalty and Disloyalty, in the stages, about the stage of passivity,
Right.
where a leader goes passive
Yeah.
and is not active in terms of what they should be doing in church.
Yes.
Well, would you recommend this Macarius Pact to any pastor, church leader, or church worker?
I have. Again, the trip to Dublin was last minute because I just had a conviction that it needed to be in the hands of leaders in the 11th district. I'm actually prayerful. I'm not sure that we'll make it this time, but I did talk with Bishop Kelly, who is the district bishop for District 11, and I did talk to Bishop Ernest Dowdy, Dr. Dowdy, who is the bishop for District 5, which is in the Midwest, and I shared with them that I thought that it would be a great idea. We as a national organization, we're going through transition. This is an election year, a quadrennial, which is an election year for our organization. And so we're expecting some change at the highest levels within our organization. And I really believe that this is the season and the opportunity maybe to bring Reverend Paul in or some other representative of this word. This is a relevant word that is needed to bring healing, to bring restoration, to build, to strengthen, and to fortify leaders. And I really think that this would be a great opportunity maybe to have a 2 or 3 day retreat. And again, whether it's a Reverend Paul or whether it's another leader within the organization, to have them come in and use as a launching pad, loyalties and disloyalties. But there's so much meat in the packet that there's so many things that can bring about a tremendous change.
Well, thank you, Bishop White. Yeah. Do you have a message for Bishop Dag?
I do. I think first and foremost, I just want to simply in humility say thank you for allowing his gifting and his calling to change the world.
Yes.
And the equipping that he's doing, not only with just Reverend Paul, we benefited from a Reverend Paul, but I know that there are ambassadors across this world that is building and changing and evolving the kingdom. And I just want to, in all humility, say thank you for that commitment. Thank you for accepting that calling, and thank you for executing at a level of excellence that honors our God.
Well, thank you, Bishop White. I've told Bishop White about Give Thyself Holy Conference in Ghana. He's not able to make it this year, but we most certainly look forward to seeing you in Ghana in 2019 at the Give Thyself Holy Conference. Yes. Well, saints, you've heard it from Bishop White himself. Daniel 9:2 says, and Daniel understood by the books. All that you need for your Christian walk, your growth in your faith, and to do ministry is in the Macarius. As they say here in Tacoma, it's in the book.
It's in the book.
It's in the book. Thank you for having us. God bless you.
Thank you.